In a world full of noise, two voices rise above the chaos. Ron and Brian. They speak truth. They stir thought. They accidentally help. News, nonsense, and necessary self-care. Join the cult of Ron and Brian. Because the work is so important.
And good evening, everybody. It is Sunday night. It is 8 o'clock. It is time for episode 387 of the Cult of Ron and Brian. Brian, the people of Philadelphia are currently revolting. There are gunshots. There are cars being turned over. And some people are upset about the Eagles losing. Don't know if there's any correspondence there. So I'm going to try and stay
I thought
on
the
the
Eagles
air.
won.
Oh, no, they lost.
What?
23-19 they lost, I believe was the final
I thought
score.
that the Eagles won. Oh my gosh. I thought the Eagles won 23-19. The 49ers 23-19. This is a huge switch.
I understand. Numbers, not your friend. I get it. You get a little confused with numbers next to each other at times. But yes, the San Francisco 49ers have knocked out the defending Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles. People are unhappy. But how are you doing? Yeah, cars being turned over, parked in the middle of Broad Street. Of course, they're being turned over and set on fire right in the middle of the street.
Listen, Ron, there is nothing like watching the city of Philadelphia having their hopes dashed. It is a city of arrogance, of people. This is still a city that chooses to embrace Rocky, a mythical sports legend, more than their own actual sports heroes. Bill Burr said it better than I did, so I'm not even going to pretend to be able to claim that high ground. Anytime I can get you to sit there and be embarrassed to be a Philadelphia sports fan and revert to your New York roots, where you'll sit there and be like, oh, let me put on my green Eagles baseball cap. Oh, wait a second. They lost. Oh, let me put on my New York Yankees Kelly Green Eagles cap.
I don't know why you have I don't know why you have the hate towards Rocky. I understand, you've said to me, Ron, I don't know which Rocky I'd like better. Was it Rocky 8? Was it Rocky 38? Like you don't seem to know. And I understand that, but Philly will remain strong.
Yeah. Until how are your Flyers doing this year? Do you have anything in hockey? Because the next thing I know, you got to wait till your Kyle Schwarber comes back to play.
What I understand, the Phillies lingerie football team looks stacked this year.
Oh, when does that league start? When can we bet on that?
Well, we'll have to take a look at that.
Will that be on FanDuel?
Brian,
what are we talking
Speaking of stacked, we have got a stacked, packed, racked show here tonight. So let's get right into it, as always, with Drink of the Week.
Drink of the Week.
Na zdrowie.
Salud.
Drink of the Week.
Proszę.
Who's?
Drink of the Week. Drink of the Week. Drink of the Week.
Brian.
Of the week.
Yes.
What are you drinking this week?
This week, we go all the way to our friendly Eastern friends in Japan. That's right. I am bringing Kawaba Snow Weizen. Yes, from our friends at Denon Plaza Kawaba Brewery in Japan. This is a 5.0 ABV beer. It's a refreshing Japanese wheat beer from our friends over at Denon Plaza. And I'm using my official The Cult of Ron and Brian pint glass here. This is a beer known for its smooth and full body profile. It's got a soft citrusy finish, clean aftertaste like melting snow, and a subtle bready fruity note, making it great with lighter dishes like sushi or sweet or seafood, not unlike the experience of having an atomic bomb dropped from the Enola Gay. It's unfiltered. Typically, this beer comes in at 5.0 to 5.2 ABV. It offers a balanced taste with hints of lemon, pear, earthiness, and human skin charred to all known recognizance. I screwed that one up. Beer Advocate gives it a score of 81. I like to give it a score of 1941. let me take a sip of Kawaba Snow Weizen.
Well, we're going to see how it tastes. It was quite the talk up for this beer, to say the least.
I'm sorry, Ron. Have I been drinking Macallan whiskey for a couple hours? Yes, I have. It's going to be a doozy.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, this is actually a good beer.
All right. Well, that's good. I'm glad you can focus on the beer at hand.
For a Weizen beer, it's not overly crisp, but it's got some very soft, pleasurable notes. This is a crushable beer, a little heavier than what some would think of for summer. Agreed, Billy says. This is a beer that will live on in infamy. This is my December 7th of all beers. This is Kawaba Snow Weizen. Ron, what are you drinking?
I heard from our good friends at Minocqua Brewing. I brought one of their beers last week, the Biden espresso stout. They said, Ron, thanks for the shout out. Would you like some of our new beers? I said, fantastic. I would love to try some of your new beers. They said, let's send some to you. Let's send some to Brian. They gave me a call today. They said, Ron, you gave us the wrong address to send Brian's beer to. I'm like, uh-oh, I'm not smart. I don't know how addresses work, but at least I got my beer. And my beer this week from Minocqua is, appropriately enough, it's The Resistance. It is a Pilsner for true patriots. Again, Minocqua does have a super PAC, which a portion of their beer sales go to support progressive causes. So this is a crisp Pilsner. It is 4.8%. I mean, take a look at that.
Oh, that's pretty.
Right there.
Is that pretty, Ron? Let me see.
Let's have a taste here.
As he takes his first sip, he's thinking, oh, licking his lips. What does he got? Tapping. Oh, he tapped his cheek, which is the official sign of buy me some more time.
I'm going to say it's good. It's very good. It's crisp. It's a little less flavorful than a lot of Pilsners, but there's a crispness and there's a nice little aftertaste to it. I'm going to have a second one of these during After Dark, I think.
Oh, there is nothing like watching Ron get sloppy, having two beers in one night. We love it. Ron, what was the name of that beer again for those people who are keeping score at home?
This beer is The Resistance by Minocqua Brewing. We'll share a link. Joe's asking did your beers end up sitting on the shopping center doorstep? Who knows? It may be sitting on the doorstep. It may be sitting in a completely closed up house where no one's home. Who knows where those things are right now? But I do know
that's true.
I do know what's coming up next, and that is Beef of the Week.
Ron and Brian's Beef of the Week.
Brian, what's bothering you this week?
All right, what's bothering me? I'm going to say this. I had a pretty good week, start to finish. Pretty good week. But there was one thing that really stuck out in my craw that has been, that is still to this moment really aggravating me. And that is people who are unnecessarily cheap and do not respect the pecking order of shipping methods. Earlier this week, I had a close friend of mine made responsible for sending a package from their home to someone else's home. Now, this was what, in my opinion,
did you just?
I think my lady just shut the light off in here. Hold on.
Well, let's. Anyway, please.
All right. Well, no. So I had a friend who was responsible for shipping something, which to me was of incredible value, almost priceless, almost something that was of vital importance for something that is so important to me that I would have expected them to have taken every effort to ensure that this package got delivered to its proper location, its proper destination, in a timely manner. And instead of choosing a variety of options, much to my chagrin, this person that I will put into quotes was a friend, clearly not a friend anymore. Actually, somebody I would more refer to as a saboteur of my life. This person
Wow.
chose USPS Ground Advantage, a shipping method that I was unaware existed up until this afternoon. Now, I've heard of FedEx Overnight. This is something that I would use as my number one go-to for shipping of something that was important to me. I would be okay if somebody shipped something UPS. The people I just got told to stop yelling. Just got a message. Sorry. Love you. I would be understand if somebody used UPS.
Whisper it, you little bitch.
Okay, hold on. Oh, let's bring it up close. So I would understand if somebody used UPS as a shipping method. I would even understand if somebody says, "Listen, the Donald Trump administration is not something that I trust. They are coming after the post office. So I'm going to choose the United States Postal Service because I want to support that organization. I want my money to go there. And I'm going to use their fastest, most accurate method of delivery, which we all know is Priority Mail Express. Then after that, I believe they have Priority Mail Express. Instead, this person treated it like they were shipping something towards UPS marketing mail or USPS periodicals.
Maybe a media mail, something along those lines.
Absolutely. This is something that the USPS refers to as economically packaged shipping, which is something that is a cheaper option for non-urgent, heavier, or hazardous materials. Something that, to me, should have been sent with the utmost care, the utmost effort, was used in such a degrading form of shipment that personally, it makes me just look at the person that I do this podcast with and wonder, listen, are you having economic problems? Because if you were, I would be happy to have paid half the price to ensure that a package got delivered to where it was supposed to.
I mean, I guess the only possible response to that is when you don't provide the correct address, the shipping method really doesn't matter.
Listen, now you are just getting into the minutia. It's important, Ron, that I think, we see the forest from the trees, which is why, while you may be champion, you have struggled to really see the big picture, which is the shipping method, not necessarily the address that is written on the label. And that, my friends, is the beef of the week.
I think the minutia is I would have had as much luck getting the box to its destination if I had thrown it out my front door as I did shipping it with your information.
Listen, I got it very close. I got it very close to where
you got it in the same town. I mean, that's kudos to you, my friend.
Same street, my friend, same street. So close. But you, because you decided to save a couple bucks, ruined the entire fucking episode of this podcast. Ron, may I ask you a question?
You may, of course.
What's bothering you this week?
So what's bothering me, apart from incorrect addresses, my blood pressure, Brian, my blood pressure, literally bothering me. So
what's going on?
So my lovely wife bought one of those home blood pressure cuff things because she wanted to be able to check her blood pressure. So I was like, oh, let me see what a physical specimen I still am. Let's strap this thing on. What do you think my blood pressure was?
It's not the first time that the two of you have had something, an apparatus in the house where you were like, hey, strap that on.
Strap it on. Exactly.
Yeah.
What do you think my blood pressure was when I first tested it on the machine?
Now, the first time you mentioned it last week, I believe it was like a 150 over 110.
150 over 100, which apparently the bottom number is the one you have to be concerned with. So roll my doctor on Wednesday. Apparently I have hypertension, Brian.
Really?
It runs in the family, but I got to 54. So I'm on medication now. Got to cut back on the salt. got to cut back on the drinking, and just got to be active. You got to be active.
Now,
Brian.
My question to you, Ron, I know you're pointing to your genetics as the reason for this, but it could have something to do with your thrice weekly Philly cheesesteaks combined with your twice weekly roast pork with broccoli rabe sandwiches combined with a overindulgence in craft beer. Could that have something to do with your hypertension? Like, I'm not saying it's completely based on your Philly diet of Philly cheesesteak egg rolls that you have at least twice a week.
Not at all.
That's just purely coincidence.
My doctor's convinced it's salt because he's like, "Do you eat a lot of salt?" And I'm like, "Not really." Well, don't grab the salt shaker. All right, I won't. Like 5 times he said, "Don't grab that salt shaker." Now the man's 92, so he clearly knows how to live a long time. But I'm not a salt guy. I think it's just it's just genetic sometimes.
Is he capable of lifting the salt shaker at his age? Like, we know once you hit 90s, the dexterity of your fingers just gets to a point where you're not able to hold anything. I mean, I know your doctor. I visited him frequently. He told me that he literally cannot self-pleasure himself. It just doesn't happen anymore because he literally can't lift that. Oh, cooking oils. What are we
Billy
talking
asking
about?
The real questions. Are the cooking oils an issue? He didn't say to stay away from the cooking oils. Thank God. I mean, what would be left to live for after that? So we'll keep you updated.
Just tragic. Just
clearly,
tragic.
if I am incapacitated, I don't know how this podcast carries on.
I mean, first off, it would take. I would do it solo, but more concerning would be that your wife would just use olive oil for everything, and that's something I don't think you could live
and
with.
probably extra virgin olive oil, which has a low smoke point. You really shouldn't be cooking with your extra virgin olive oil.
Absolutely, just tragic. Just tragic.
All right, Brian, let's get to our stories of the week real quick. These are, of course, the stories that we want to make sure we thrust in everybody's faces before the show is over. Brian, what is your story of the week this week?
Listen, my story of the week is finally the cruising industry has heard the screams of people, of adults who are sitting there looking for a relaxing cruise. The fine people over at Oceania Cruises have announced that they are going to go adult only on their cruises throughout Europe, Alaska, the Caribbean, South America, Asia, Africa, and the Australia, where starting this month, they're only going to welcome guests 18 and older for new reservations. Quoted from Jason Montague, their chief luxury officer, which is ironic, your nickname when we were in college. Our guests have consistently shared that the tranquil environment aboard our ships is one of the primary reasons they return time and time again. Therefore, children under the age of 18 will no longer be allowed to be booked onto a cruise on Oceania Cruises. By transitioning to an adults-only experience, they are hoping to enhance the very essence of the Oceania Cruises journey, one defined by sophistication, serenity, and discovery. Rod, this was something that about 3 weeks ago you absolutely railed for. You said you were never going to go on another cruise if there were going to be brat children to make a noise and prevent you and your wife from a comfortable, quiet environment sitting on the deck. And I just thought it was almost as if the people at Oceania heard you.
They heard my pleas and they listen. That's what champions do. Champions get action done.
And you have made them happen. Ron, what's your story of the week?
So my story of the week, one of those ones that just kind of make you chuckle from time to time. This is about a hacktivist, Brian, who took down 3 white supremacist websites on stage recently while dressed as the Pink Ranger from Power Rangers. This is Martha Root. It's a pseudonym for a German hacker. She was at an annual hacker conference giving a speech, and she ended the speech by deleting the servers of White Date, White Child, and White Deal while still live on stage. This was at the Chaos Communication Congress. She described White Date as Tinder for Nazis, White Child also claims to match white supremacist sperm donors with an egg donor.
Oh,
and white
no.
deal is as if TaskRabbit was just for racists. She didn't just delete the sites. She also took the time before deleting the servers to use an AI chatbot to gather user data from Whitedate. The exact geolocation metadata was in the user images on the site and found poor cybersecurity hygiene. She then leaked user profiles with names, description, age, and location, gender, language, race, and other personal information. She wrote,
Good
quote,
for
imagine,
her.
she wrote, quote, imagine calling yourselves the master race, but forgetting to secure your own website. Maybe try mastering to host WordPress before world domination.
Oh my God, I love this. What a
Gotta love
gal. I love this gal. This lady is a winner in my book.
All right. Well, speaking of winners, Brian, taking
what a
words
transition,
right
Ron.
out
Thanks for
of the
picking up
mouth.
on that.
You are so good at that. We are honored and privileged to welcome the winner of the 2025 Death Pool contest, the 4-time now winner of the Cult of Ron and Brian Death Pool. We welcome to the show Andrew H. Andrew, how the hell are you tonight?
I am honored to be here. This is my honor to be a part of this podcast.
What a man, what a myth. And to truly, the word is thrown around, but I believe this is so properly described. You are a legend. When it comes to death pools, we all start off on December 31st with 20 names. We like to believe that we are all equals, that we have the same chance. However, there is something about you. There is something about your ability to look into the future and just be able to see who will not be alive on December 31st of the following year. It is an incredible skill that you have used to dominate this game that we like to call a death pool.
Keep the praise coming. I love it. There's some skill here. I don't know what it is. My wife says she wishes I was good at other things and not just picking dead people, but here I am.
Have you thought about watching female-based pornography where it is about pleasuring the woman? Like that might be one of those skills that she's sitting there saying you should focus on. Because truly speaking, your ability to sit there on December 31st, close your eyes and just say, who is going to die 12 months from now? And just be able to pick off celebrities who are going to die is something that is, I will say this, unequaled by mankind.
It's weird. It seems like these celebrities just love to tell you that they're dying. It's great. It helps me out.
But yet you have access to the same list of celebrities and the same illnesses that everybody else does. Last year, Ron, tell me if I'm not correct here, we had about 20 to 25 entries, and there was not one close to you at the end of the year. There was not another entry that threatened to sit there and say, I am an equal. Your ability to just stack those points throughout the year. Ron's the only person that came close. And if I'm not correct,
I think Andrew's being too humble because it really falls under it falls under the expression, if it was that easy, everybody would do it. We have individuals participating in this death pool that haven't scored points in over 2 years.
Yeah.
So the fact that you come in, you set a record at 146 points. You pick 5 correct names, bringing lifetime total to 19 picks, 440 points.
Impressive.
Talk to us about how you put together the 2025 winning ticket.
Just a lot of research. Like I said, Google alerts for cancer, which is depressing. Stage 4 specifically, which is great.
You had
Illness.
Ananda Lewis. You had Ananda Lewis, who we were all aware of, had reported herself as being sick. But you sat there, looked, and you were like, 1973 birth? Oh, yeah, she's going on my list. Listen, I know you're a baseball fan, so I would think that you had a soft spot in your heart for Chicago second baseman, Hall of Famer Ryne Sandberg. But no, you sat there and you took his health diagnosis, which had been made public, and sat there and said, "You're going to die, buddy, and I'm going to score some points off of you." And you stacked it so well. I don't believe anybody else had Ryne Sandberg.
No, that was a lone Andrew pick.
Oh, just amazing.
There's no feelings in the death pool. If you're gonna die, you're gonna die. I can't do anything about it.
And I think that is where you set yourself apart and have consecutive. Ron, tell me if I am not wrong, but this is not just the first time Andrew has won. This is the fourth time he has won.
Correct. He is the first 4-time champion. I mean, he was also the first 3-time champion and the first 2-time champion. It was a lot of unprecedented achievements that we have seen. Talk to us about your 2026 list. Who are you really excited to see die on that list?
I think my number one is James Van Der Beek. He looks terrible. And you sell off all your things? Come on. That's
He's
not
getting
long
ready,
for this
is what
world.
you're saying. Understood.
Yeah.
Understood. Who do you think is your real sleeper this year? James Van Der Beek. I believe other people have picked him. What sets your entries apart historically has been your ability to just narrow in on that one candidate everybody else has forgotten, pick them, and then when they drop dead, you score your points.
That's it. I think this year I like the guy from 3 Doors Down. Stage 4 cancer, looks terrible.
Is that Brad Arnold?
Yes.
Goodness, my goodness. You are a legend when it comes to this. This is something that is just so impressive. I have a question for you. When you go into work tomorrow, or say last Monday, do you walk in with an air of superiority? Do you let your coworkers know that you are better than them, that no matter how hard they struggle, you will always rise above them to the top?
Oh, absolutely. My head's held high. I walk a little taller, just knowing that I'm better than some people at a lot of things.
Andrew,
or at least one thing.
This one thing, you are better than anyone else. There have been other years where other people have put together more points than you, but from a first off, you have won multiple years in a row, never done before, but also just over time, stacked points. You are like the Ricky Henderson of stolen bases. It may never be touched again. We may never even see somebody who can just sit there and go from first to second to third with such ease. Your name will be spoken in such high regard. Ron, is there any way that we would be able to acknowledge this man's accomplishments? Because this is more than just winning.
Right. I mean, I think there's only one way that we can honor this special individual's special achievements. So I would invite all of you to pay attention to this short video.
Every year, legends rise. Predictions are made. Lives end.
From humble beginnings, armed only with questionable sources and concerning enthusiasm.
Did we think he'd become one of the greatest? No. But now history will show him as the legend he has become.
We always knew that he was special,
But when multiple people on his list started to pass away, we knew we were dealing with something special.
Year after year, he delivered the unthinkable, leaving competitors stunned and our lawyers deeply uncomfortable.
When that list dropped, I thought it was satire. Turns out he was simply built different.
His consistency, his fearlessness, his uncanny ability to say, trust me, this makes sense, when it never did.
And so today, we honor him with our highest tribute.
We honor Andrew H., the inaugural member of our Death Pool Hall of Fame. You did the work.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
We talked about it, last year as it became evident that you were going to come up with this fourth victory, and both Brian and I agreed we had to stop the construction of our Golden Ballroom. We had to shift those funds into building the new Ron and Brian Death Pool Hall of Fame, which you are now the inaugural member of. It also comes with this beautiful Hall of Fame ring. It says on the front there, Celebrity Death Ball Hall of Fame. It says you did the work. It says legend on the side. This is sitting somewhere near your house, thanks to Brian, but we will connect and make sure that you are able to get this ring that you so proudly deserve.
I am beyond honored. This is great. I need a copy of that video that I can just play on repeat.
Of course, we will make sure that you get a copy of it. We will, but most importantly is that package has been delivered very close to you. It contains this one-of-a-kind ring. If you are unable to locate that package, just let us know in a short period of time. Ron decided to save a couple bucks and send it out USPS Ground Advantage. That package has been delivered to an erroneous address, not where you live. I want to apologize for Ron's poor lack of judgment. FedEx would have delivered it to your door. DHL would have delivered it to your door. USPS Ground Advantage delivers it to your neighbor down there.
This time's gotta stop.
Wow.
There is the bonus now that I get to meet my neighbor. I walked over there. They're not home today. I get to meet a new friend.
Make a new friend.
Yeah.
Your neighbors are in Minneapolis supporting ICE. They are shooting pepper gas at protesters right now. You got to wait for them to come home, and then you can deal with them. And as
judging from the flags out front, that's probably where they were.
Ooh, it's what happens when you move to Jersey. It's a little.
That's what happens.
So, Andrew, what do you say to the quote-unquote experts, the pundits, and we talked about this on last week's show, that really are ranking your entry in the bottom half of all the entries? They say you can't do it. You can't repeat. You have too many names on your list that other people don't have. What are your comments to those people?
I just need the right names. I have all the right names. They may be scattered amongst other participants, but all in one list, I think I got them.
And what do you have to say to the kids out there looking up at you, hoping that one day they too can be a Hall of Famer?
The work is so important. From day one. That's it.
Nailed it.
God damn it, it's so good.
So good. Andrew, thank you so much for coming on once again. I mean, I feel like every year I should just, we should just wake up and just mail you $100 because the money is going into your pocket. We're going to give you an option. Do you want to send this money to a charity, or do you want this money to go directly into your pocket to help fund your beer fund?
We will put it in my pocket. Between this and Locks of the Week, you guys are funding my kids' college.
Oh, my goodness. If there's anything that makes me happier is sending you money. Andrew, we will send you $100 by tomorrow morning. And let us know if that package does not make its way to your home. We will order a replacement.
I
You
will take
deserve your
I will
champion.
take the walk 15 houses down again tomorrow.
There you go. Thank you so
Maybe
much.
you should send Brian a Venmo request for the money, as you probably should not rely on him to punch in your user ID correctly.
I might have to do that.
All right. Well, how about one more round of applause for 2025 champion, Hall of
To a
Famer
legend.
Andrew
A
H.
legend.
We are excited to see who you pick and how they play out this year. Thank you again for joining the show.
Thank you all
Thank
for
you so
everything. I
much.
appreciate it.
Congratulations again, Andrew. You are a legend.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining. Oh my goodness. I swear to God, this guy is so good at this. And it is amazing to watch someone, not just in their prime, but somebody who can continuously deliver a high level of excellence.
Listen, I think you look at someone who performs at that level, like you said.
Sure.
Who,
yes.
And it said in the video, the guy in the video said it perfectly, just built different. And then you compare it with people that struggle with simple things, like providing correct mailing addresses and things like that. And you see
people who don't know how to ship properly.
You see how much more impressive his performance is.
He's so good. He is just so good. I've spoken to multiple people who said, listen, is Andrew H coming into the 2026 Death Pool? And when I said yes, they were like, I don't want to enter. I have no interest. I'm not going to, I don't want to lose to him again. And it's just amazing to watch, somebody who can just put fear into so many people the way that Andrew H does.
Exactly. Well, let's get into the news. A lot of stories from this past week. Probably one of the main ones, obviously, would be the ongoing ICE activity in Minneapolis, which earlier last week resulted in the death of a U.S. citizen, Renee Nicole Good, photoed here. Shot by Jonathan Ross, I think the ICE agent's name is, killed in cold blood. I mean, I don't know that you can say anything other than that. You've seen the videos out there, you've seen the propaganda, but
listen, this is a symptom of the society we live in. This is and the reaction is also a symptom to a society that we live in. We are living in a day and age where we no longer identify the other as American and see that person as being in the same pool of human beings as us. We are primarily looking at people from an ideological perspective and stating, do you agree with my perspective, yes or no? If yes, then I will value you to the end of this earth. And if your answer is no, if you do not agree with everything that I stand for, then I'm going to absolutely rationalize your execution. And here's a perfect example of a woman who is an American citizen, born and raised in this country, who was killed by her federal government while simply being in her car and hitting the accelerator. Now, some people have sat there and said she shouldn't have been sitting there protesting ICE. She should not have hit the accelerator when people approached her car and tried to open her door. Everything we are told as Americans speak to the opposite of that, which is that our American citizenship, while we are on American soil, attributes certain rights and privileges that in today's day and age have been wiped clean in the air of we are to obey anybody who approaches us while claiming to be representative of our police/military authority. Now, I was brought up in an age where if somebody approaches you in your car and threatens to open the door, you can drive off. That unless you have committed a crime, unless you are wanted for a crime, nobody has the right to just open your car door and just immediately detain you. Do I believe that this woman was out there protesting ICE? Yes. Do I believe she was out there antagonizing ICE? Yes. But should she have died? I don't believe so. Ron, I am going to stop.
No, I let you go because you were actually making some very good salient points. I mean, I think, the only thing I would argue with is you talk about, police and military. ICE is neither. And I think that's the craziest part about this is they are, they're not law enforcement. They're a government agency. They don't have unlimited, unchecked powers. But
not anymore. In this,
it seems to be okay for them to lie and to cover their faces and to, not follow any procedures that are standard in either the law enforcement or military world.
The current administration has empowered ICE to basically be able to do whatever they say they want to do under the guise of enforcing immigration law with qualified immunity. And that is something where on American soil has never happened before in my lifetime. Police officers walking streets of America are required to not hide their identity, to be able to be visibly identifiable as police officers with badge numbers, with name tags on their uniform, with body cameras, whereas this current administration has empowered ICE to hide their identity, to mask that their government affiliation, to the point where you've got guys wearing green camouflage uniforms who are walking the streets with no markers that state that they are an ICE agent, who are acting prior to identifying who they are, enforcing an expectation on the American populace of obedience with the assumption that they are interacting with a individual with authority in that interaction.
Well, not only do they not,
there has not been any acknowledgement prior to this point.
Right. And not only is there not any authority, there is such a low level, there's such a low bar to hurdle to become an ICE agent. There's so little training provided. You look at military and you look at the training the military has to go through. You look at police and how they have to go through the academy. Even you look at the FBI, a rookie FBI agent has to go through a minimum of 20 weeks of training before they're paired with a veteran officer. These guys go through 47 days of training.
Yeah.
Barely.
And then are handed a gun and basically and qualified immunity, which is go out there, do what, go out there and arrest some illegal migrants. And if you kill somebody, it's okay because you're going to be you won't be held liable.
And did you see the video of the two ICE agents walking and they slip, ironically, on ice on a sidewalk in Minneapolis, and one of them, their weapon went off because he was carrying it without the safety on. So literally, these two guys are walking up on a sidewalk. He slips and falls, and his rifle goes off. Like these are fucking clown shoes that are trying to enforce laws.
Sure.
And I say laws in quotes because they're perverting the laws as much as anything else to get the job done.
Well, for the first time, and I know that I believe it was the Giuliani administration here in New York City, started a program where the police officers were empowered to stop and frisk.
Right.
Which was, I believe it was Giuliani. It may have existed prior. I could be wrong. But the Giuliani administration really pushed it forward. Stop and frisk, which was if the police officers think you might be guilty of a crime, they have the ability to stop you and frisk you to see if you are indeed in the act of some type of criminal activity. It was not based on any actual observation or factual basis. It was just basically on like the gut instinct of the police officer.
Right.
And the Supreme Court, if I'm not correct, it went to the Supreme Court, maybe New York State, maybe the United States. Don't really remember the difference. But it was tossed out of court. It was basically like, this is a policy that has absolutely been perverted to be singularly enforced upon minorities as a percentage of the populace. And it was tossed out as illegal. We need to stop doing stop and frisk. Whereas what ICE is doing right now does appear on videos that I've seen on social media, and I am begging somebody to prove me otherwise. I am not some type of ideological maniac. I'm struggling here, Ron. You got to help me here. But
it's enjoyable.
I am, God damn it! Why do you enjoy it? Where I am just so unable to look at both sides of the coin. I want to see both sides of the coin here.
There really isn't one here, though. That's
my point. Is that there has been no publicized, qualified rules of interaction that has been issued to ICE agents on how they are allowed to interact with people. I've seen videos of them approaching people saying, "Who are you? Where are you from? Where were you born? Give me ID," which is not something that any police officer has been allowed to do in the history of this country. You are not allowed to act with the assumption of guilt and expect an American pedestrian to have to prove otherwise. We do have this assumption of innocence that has to be contracted with a proven of guilt. I've seen videos of brown-skinned people being approached by ICE agents aggressively and told that they have to prove that they're not doing something illegal by simply existing in this country. And I do not see anywhere where there's any legal justification for this behavior other than the current administration simply wanting to harass the brown skinned people who live within the confines of the 50 states.
Well, and the fact that these guys aren't held to any standards whatsoever, any professional standards, you're seeing whack jobs being empowered. There was a video out of Minneapolis. I want to say it was St. Paul earlier today. Just a bunch of guys wearing plastic badges that probably came off of Amazon, having their face covered, harassing minorities.
Sure,
claiming they were ICE agents. They're apparently tonight. I've been seeing reports on social media that ICE agents are going door to door in St. Paul. Like the main thing, and you hear this from everybody. Like if you were in your house and ICE comes, they need a judicial warrant. They will lie to you. They will lie to you and say they have a warrant. Half of that is either an administrative warrant or it's a judicial warrant that has been typed up and not been signed. You should continue to peacefully harass ICE agents as much as possible. You can feel free to tell them to go fuck themselves. You can videotape them in public places. You can do like what the people of Minneapolis have been doing. You can go and sit outside their hotel and make sure they don't get any sleep. This is
how great is that video?
This is a crowd outside of the Canopy in downtown Minneapolis Friday night, where federal agents were staying and
staying up all
people
night.
Just playing drums, shouting.
The video of the guy parked in front of a hotel playing a full drum set, something you would expect to see at a Rush concert. The guy had like 14 toms and 18 cymbals, and he's just sitting there playing a drum kit at 2:00 in the morning to keep everybody awake. Just civil disobedience at its best. And unless the federal government has sat there and can prove that there is a justification for it, I should not have the legal justification or authorization to shoot and kill American citizens. That is not what our federal government is here to do. It's not to kill citizens.
And now, what's interesting is, allegedly federal agents were staying at this Hilton hotel because they had been kicked out of a Hampton Inn in Lakeville, Minneapolis, because they didn't want ICE agents there. And Hilton removed that hotel from their system because of that. So
fuck Hilton.
Obviously, I've got a lot of hotel background. And I will tell you, in working with the brands, you can run a rundown hotel. You can run a dirty hotel. You can not be good to your customers, and you don't get kicked out of the system. But the main thing you cannot do is bring bad press.
Right.
And that's all it is. And that's what is absolutely ridiculous. It is disgraceful. I'm embarrassed for Hilton as a company. Conrad Hilton, the guy who started the company many, many years ago, he used to, the big quote that they always share about him, and they put it up on screens, and they beat their chest, and they say, Conrad Hilton talked about the warmth and light of hospitality. Explain to me where the warmth and light of shooting somebody in the fucking head in their own car and then calling her a fucking bitch as her car rolls down the road as she's dying.
You're right there.
Tell me. It pisses me off.
You're allowed to be.
Pisses me off.
We encourage you to be pissed off by the, but it is, but don't distract yourself into pointing fingers at the Hilton Hilton Hotel Corporation for being spineless. The direction of your ire should be a federal government that prioritizes the murder of American citizens, so long as it's done under the guise of attacking and rounding up of minorities. Because that literally is what it is. It is, the ICE agents were going after minorities to attack them. So it's okay if a couple liberal Americans were taken out as a result of it. You look at any of the liberal policies that the previous administration had in place, and I just challenge you that when a U.S. citizen was murdered by the federal government to ensure that a Mexican migrant had the ability to stay in a hotel room, that the far right would have been up in arms. How dare an American citizen be killed by our federal government under the guise of enforcing immigration policy? It's the fucking hypocrisy, and it is the double standard of prioritization of ideology, that if you agree with me, everything is great. And if you disagree with me, I am completely okay with your murder, regardless of whether you are an American citizen and having the same rights as me. I'm okay that you lose those rights because you don't agree with me, because I'm going to assume that in 4 years, when the next party decides to take over and the party that I'm supporting loses the privilege of running the government, I'm not going to be a victim. I'm not going to have the federal government come after me and murder me simply because I don't agree with them. It is the idea that we as Americans have bifurcated the American population as being with us and those who are okay to be murdered because they disagree with us, rather than seeing that we are both American citizens subject to the same rules, regulations, laws, and amendments that the Constitution affords us, and the rules should apply to all of us.
There you go. I mean, listen, we can obviously talk about this all night, but it is important for people to continue to push back on this, and do not get tired of it, but it's amazing because, growing up in the 80s and the 90s, and we were fed news stories of other countries, of watching other countries that, would punish and kill their citizens in the streets, whether it was Tiananmen Square, whether it was Russia, whether it was, in South America. And now that's us.
Yeah. It is.
And it's in the name of making America great again. It is punishing American citizens in the name of supposedly making America great again.
How can we be great when an American citizen gets shot by the federal government for simply being in their car and stepping on the accelerator?
Right.
It is, we are not a great country when American citizens are in a position where they can be executed by the American government simply for driving their car. It's not okay. I'm sorry. And don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with protesting against ICE. Do I think that if there's an ICE agent in front of you, you step on the gas? Probably not. Probably not, because you could get executed. However, Lord knows what would have happened to her had she not stepped on the gas. Lord knows what that ICE agent who approached the car to open her car door, who reached in to try to open her door, Lord knows what would have happened to her at that point. And I'm going to tell you something. It doesn't matter, because whatever would have happened to her would have been utterly justified by the administration and their supporters as being completely okay, simply because she did not agree with what ICE was doing inside of Minneapolis, which is basically stating that nowadays, if you disagree with your federal government and what various agencies in the federal government are doing, it's perfectly fine if you get executed. And I don't agree with that. We have lost the ability to say that we can protest our federal government. And the truth be told is, had it been vice versa, and it had been a liberal administration and a conservative who was protesting and got shot and killed by a member of the federal government, I also would not be supporting that. American citizens should not be executed by their federal government for protesting and the outskirts of protesting. That's not what our federal government is there for. It is to protect us, not to attack us.
And that's, and that's what I think what is missed on the right versus what is missed somewhat on the left is we want this for everybody, not just for people that support us. We don't want people to be shot and killed by the American government.
No.
Full stop. Just like with the Epstein files. Well, what if Bill Clinton's in the Epstein files?
Release him.
He should be investigated, and if necessary, he should be tried. If there is somebody in the Epstein files, they should be investigated and tried if necessary. Full stop.
Sure.
Doesn't matter if they're left wing, right wing, white, black, rich, famous, poor, whatever. It's not a simple concept. I mean, not a tough concept, I should say.
Shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. Unfortunately, nowadays, we have become such a divided country, and we have reached the point where we feel so little connection with those that disagree with us that we have rationalized, justified, and made acceptable in our brains the execution of those that disagree with us. It used to be us against the world, and now it has become us against us, where murder is okay. And I'm not saying this in itself is an example of murder, but we have become such a society where we have justified the death of those who disagree with us simply on the basis that they disagree with us. That it has become more important that we ideologically sympathize with other people than the fact that they have the same constitutional rights that we have. That's tragedy right there, in my book.
Well, let's get one more story in that we are equally passionate about, and that is people behaving badly at Broadway shows.
Sure,
we
of course,
also are very passionate about that. This past week, a Broadway theater goer called out a group of, quote, loud and obnoxious women during a performance of Mamma Mia, and you may have seen the viral video that was out there. The man, he's standing up there in the hoodie. He was sitting alongside his teenage nieces and wife at the Winter Garden Theater, where apparently he alleged that the group had been singing obnoxiously loud, clapping, laughing, and talking through the first act of Mamma Mia. He said, quote, "You want to make a scene? I'm going to make a scene. Mess with my teenage nieces again, it's bullshit." And you and I, we go to Broadway when we get the opportunity, and it is true.
Of course.
I feel, and again, there's no way to say this without sounding old, but
Okay.
It seems like going to Broadway 20, 30, 40 years ago was a much different experience than it is these
Everything
days. Like
was.
it was a special experience. I think there was a level of behavior that was expected of you, and now people treat it like they're going to the movies. Like, oh, we'll just yell at the, we can sing along, we can be as loud as we want. I feel this man's pain. Without a doubt.
But even going to the movies 30 years ago, you would sit there quietly and watch the movie and try not to impede the enjoyment of those around you by making noise. Going to Broadway is not signing up for a sing-along. Now, I would understand. I would say this. If Broadway wants to announce that certain shows throughout the week are quote-unquote sing-alongs, where they encourage people in the audience to vocally, as loud as they can, sing along to the songs that are done. Okay, so be it. But if you are paying $200 to go to a Broadway show so that you can watch a performance, that doesn't mean that you want to hear Amanda from Omaha, Nebraska behind you singing at the top of her lungs louder than you're hearing the stage. You're not paying for to hear Amanda singing. You want to hear the Broadway professionals sing. It is no different than anything else, which is we have hit a point where we are now prioritizing our own experience over the experience of those around us and showing the level of respect to those around us by not wanting to interfere with their experience. It is the same thing as those people on planes who are going to sit there and talk loudly or bring children on. Sorry, what was that? Oh, no, I'm sorry. That was an earlier story we did about people on cruise. But it is, and the thing is, I'm going to say to this guy, absolutely kudos to him. And I know myself, I wouldn't have the balls to do it in person. I would have sat there furious listening to Amanda from Omaha, Nebraska behind me, singing as loud as she can during every song and ruining my experience. And
even one of the performers in the play, Carly Sakalov, who plays Rosie in the musical, said that she could hear the women singing up on stage.
Yeah, it's
how
wild
ridiculous is that?
Utterly wild.
It was interesting in that, reaction was mixed online. Some people felt like he should have gotten security. Other people faulted ushers for not doing their job, which I would agree to an extent. That's what the ushers were there for. And I guess the big issue was when, in talking, what really set him off was when he asked them not to continue what they were doing in the second act. They started cursing at him and his nieces. And so security ended up removing both parties. But the women were not allowed to re-enter for the second act. This gentleman and his family was. So
really good for them.
Yeah.
Absolutely. This is just unacceptable behavior. You want to have a good time? That's great. But at the end of the day, do not ruin the experience of those around you.
I look at you as a caring, considerate individual who doesn't,
of course,
who thinks about the people around them.
And Ron, I look at you and see somebody who doesn't sit there and say, "Are you sure that's the right address?"
Again, I think my problem is I have faith over people's ability to read, comprehend, and communicate proper information.
Simple cut and paste error, not highlighting the entire field. We've all made that error at some point, Ron.
So do we want to, real quick, we've got time for one more story. Do we want to look at the new WestJet airline seating? I made a prediction. We did our 2026 predictions last year, and I made a joke prediction about airlines like just getting rid of seating altogether for one of their sections. But this potentially seems to be happening. This woman,
this is reality.
She put together I guess a video of her flight in Edmonton.
Now, WestJet is Australian, correct?
I'm not 100% sure. You are the aviation expert for the podcast.
WestJet Air is from what country? WestJet Air is Canada. This is Calgary, Alberta-based airline, WestJet Airlines. Now, you can see look at you can't even see this person's knees. They are literally under.
Impossible. You just straighten us.
Now, can you imagine if the person in front of you decided to lean their chairs back?
Yeah. I mean, that's absolutely like insane.
Utter, like that is just like the definition of economy, of what the future of economy flying is going to become. Just frightening that the airline industry, in the quest for corporate profits, it will justify having a seat with so little depth that a human being cannot properly sit without sliding their entire leg somehow under the seat in front of them. Just outrageous. Heaven forbid those people who fly internationally to London multiple times a year.
Well, let's one thing that is worth the money, Brian, it's our Patreon. And we say it often. After dark, we have an extra half hour that we do after this show. We've got it coming up in just a mere 24 minutes. Well, if you have not joined our Patreon, please go to cultofronandbrian.com, click in the upper right-hand corner to become a patron. And, well, it's $10 a month to join us live. And again, we're not doing this for the profit, people. We are doing this for the love. We put the money right back into the podcast. The money is going towards the construction of the new Death Pool Hall of Fame. It went to something like that ring, the Hall of Fame ring that you saw, which is somewhere in New Jersey at this moment. Not 100% sure where exactly. But this is how we build and we grow this podcast and make it as good or better each and every week.
And at the end of the day, it is not just putting money into our pockets. We have not pocketed a penny from this show over the years. You look at some of those graphics behind you, you see some of the incredible video presentations that are put together. That is all offset by the monies that we collect from the Patreon. This is not a money-making venture. This is the more money that comes in, the better the show becomes. The more our cash prices become for our death pool, the greater our After Dark Can You Beat Ron? Can You Beat Brian becomes. Grower, not a shower. I heard that phrase about 2 hours ago. But it is just, it is a way for the show to just continue to be better. Great point, Janelle. I'll yell at Matt right now.
Again, maybe he did not use the correct email addresses when sending the link out for After Dark. But we will make sure that gets taken care of. We will get very excited about After Dark. Brian, anything additional before we wrap up episode 387?
All I can say is congratulations to Andrew H. Your place in our hearts and minds has only continued to grow.
All right. Well said, Brian. You've been very much on point. Maybe we should drink a little Macallan often before each episode. All right. Thank you for joining us, everybody. After Dark, folks. We'll see you in a little bit. Everyone else, we will see you next Sunday night.
Thank you for joining us for the latest episode of The Cult of Ron and Brian. A non-tax deductible contribution can be made by subscribing to our Patreon. Visit cultofronandbrian.com and click on Become a Patron. We'll see you again next week.